name is Joshua Brunet, and I'm an assistant professor of art at OBU. I think it's really important as a faculty to be able to show students how God is working. Not only has He worked within our field or our discipline, but how He's currently working within our field and discipline, so that they can be prepared for how He's going to work with them in the future in that same discipline. In my art classes, I talk about the elements of design as a means and a way of designing our work so we can better communicate with our audience, whether it's photography, painting, graphic design. These elements kind of transcend all of those ideas to help us create work that people can connect with. My favorite one, or the one I always emphasize, is value, and I say contrast of value. We need darks and lights on our page to help draw someone's eye to whatever we're trying to say or communicate. In the book of Genesis, one of the first things God does after He creates the world is He says, "Let there be light." He creates light and separates light from darkness. And so there's contrast of value. That's what we're talking about. That's one of the elements of design that we use as students to create and communicate. One of the first things God does is He also shows us how to communicate by communicating to us and separating light and darkness. So as students start to work and design, everything that they're doing is really just mimicking what God has already laid out in the foundations of the world. And so it becomes really a worshipful experience. Not only am I an art professor at OBU, but I'm also a working illustrator. I have an agent in New York, and I work for companies all over the United States. So as I'm teaching illustration, I'm also being an illustrator. And so those experiences directly come from what I'm doing in the professional world and go right into the classroom, so I can teach students how to work, how to be prepared as they leave OBU. Being able to work professionally, I think, is really impactful for the students, because most of the jobs I get are during the school year. And so as I'm working and interacting with publishers and my agent, art directors out in the field, I'm bringing that into the classroom. I'm showing students what I'm learning and what I'm doing, and then how that relates to the things that we're discussing in class, which is really great because that's what they want to do as well. And so it's not just me giving life advice, I'm giving actual work experience. Like, this is what's happening today. This is what I'm doing professionally right now. So this is how we're going to be able to prepare you for what you're going to do either now or very shortly in the future. When I talk to students who are interested in studying art at OBU, one of the things that I encourage them about is our small class sizes. There's a lot of one-on-one interaction with professors and students within our classrooms that you don't get at a lot of larger universities. But what I think is even more special is the opportunity to study God in all of the disciplines, and specifically art. We get to see His handiwork through creation, and get to learn about why He makes things good, and then how we can replicate that and make things good as well, and get to understand His heart a lot more closely by mimicking Him and imitating Him in that creative process. When students leave OBU, I want to make sure that they're not only prepared professionally for the fields of study that they're going into, whether it's graphic design, studio art, illustration, but that they're also prepared to bring Christ into the world and to interact with the people around them with the good news of Christ. I'm Joshua Brunet, and I'm a future shaper at OBU.